Hello, Eric Range. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
It's good, man. It's Friday. The weather's starting to change a little bit here in Florida. I like it when it gets cool like this, but I don't like it when it gets too cold. I'm a Florida boy, so
Yes.
I like the heat. But today is beautiful out right now, man. So I'm excited. It's Friday. It's been a week where nothing but grinding. But we made it through the week, and we're here on Friday, and now I get to spend this time with you and all of our guests who check us out each week on Facebook. Make sure and on YouTube as well and Instagram. Make sure you guys share this. Tell people, come watch us, come check us out. Today's show is going to be awesome.
Gonna be fire. It's
You
gonna be
know, we get to talk about something I love, hemp and hemp farming, and then we get to meet some special people. We always bring you guys some of the most special people in this industry, people that y'all should know about. So I'm excited about today's show.
Well, without further ado, let's get it cracking, y'all. Everybody that's out there, hey guys, happy Friday. Make sure you share and make sure if you have any questions or anything at all you want to ask, put it in the comment section. So without further ado, one thing that's happening right now is the hemp farming industry is growing. And even though we're in COVID-19 and there's things going on that are affecting the industry and slowing things down a little bit, you got folks that have been doing this. They have been driving the industry, and they look like me and you. They're people of color who are like, listen, we want in. We're not going to wait for licenses and medical marijuana programs. We feel like we can really create a business model and a business in the hemp industry. And so I want to bring this young lady on board. She has been touted as the first Black-owned, vertically integrated hemp farming company in the country. Please give it up for Miss Armaney Richardson. Hey, Armaney. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
We're good. How about yourself?
Good. Working.
I see. You got your coat on. You're all set. We're so happy to have you with us. Just the first and foremost, tell everybody that's listening a little bit about yourself, about your company, and how long you've been in the industry.
So, first and foremost, I'm Armaney Richardson Peterson. We've been in the industry since 2017. We got in the industry. My dad is one of the last Black farmers here in the area in like 3 or 4 counties. So that's farming on a larger scale. So he came back to us from a farm. He's on the Farm Bureau board and was like, hey, they want me to do this hemp stuff, but I have a flip phone and I know it's a lot of record keeping. So we were like, hey, we'll do it. My husband's from Baltimore. And he was like, yeah, if it's farming marijuana, yeah, we're going to do it. We had been taking CBD before. I have a condition called ulcerative colitis. So I had been taking it in college, and I felt it was helping a little. But, when you get stuff from China and India, you're not sure where it's coming from.
Sure.
So I was a little familiar with it. But, yeah, that's pretty much how we got started and how the knowledge came to us.
Man, and what year was this in? Year like around when?
2017.
Okay, 2017. So you're based in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity was presented to your dad. You was like, man, let's look at this. Okay, so who, was it your husband that was the driver? I mean, how'd you guys know, who was your mentorship?
My husband was my driver because we were general contractors before. So we were building a community, starting this gated community, and we literally let that project go and jumped into hemp. He was just like, the building industry is going to be around for a while, but we need to get into this cannabis industry while it's here.
Yeah.
We really dropped everything and just went to this head first. It was a rough switch over, but we're here and we made
it. and talk about that. On those early days, okay, the excitement of cannabis and hemp is there, right?
Right.
You either have it or you don't have it. Like most people who get into this, as soon as they see that there's an opportunity for them, they seize the moment, right? So
right.
What were some of those early conversations like for you guys in terms of deciding what you would do? Okay, because there's so many different things you can do with hemp. How did you guys decide, what, this is going to be it? This is the direction we want to take it?
So we started reviewing like the application and looking at like the steps as far as getting the application. We started calling places in Europe. We started calling Canada. We just started calling around just to get general information just from the application, like what are certified seeds? What is it? We literally started at ground zero. So we got a lot of advice from, and we also, there's a company here called Hemp Inc. And
Yep.
so they
Yep.
were inviting people to their facility, and they were doing a
Spring Hope, right? You went to Spring Hope?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
That for me was like a turning point when you saw the actual combines and saw the actual processing, and you're taking these big old bales and then turning it down into sawdust. I mean, I was like, oh, this is for real. This ain't no play. This for real.
Yes, we went there a few times and we were like, hey, this is, we could do this. Like, we already have the farm. My dad's I'm a third or fourth generation farmer. So we already had the infrastructure from tobacco. And then we were like, hey, this, tobacco's kind of leaving the United States, and, it's not as profitable as it once was. So in the midst of, he still does soybean and wheat, but we said, let's jump into this. We need to get into it right now.
Yeah. And so when you were talking about going in and getting into it and doing the tour, and again, you fill out the application, you get your application going or what have you, what made you say that you want to be if you could just tell everybody from your own words, like what's the scope of what you do currently right now? And then what we're going to do is we're going to back everybody into your own thought process of how you got everything implemented. So besides cultivating, tell everybody, what do you do right now from a hemp perspective?
So right now we are the ADHD hemp company in the industry. We are vertically integrated. So we're growing it, we're processing it, we're putting it in our stores, in our franchise locations. We started our first store in Wendell, North Carolina, our baby about 2 years ago. And then we branched off to 12 other locations from here. In our stores, we only carry what we make. So we manufacture it, we make it. Everything is from the stuff that we make. We don't outsource any products. We do outsource one product, and that is a great hot sauce that we weren't interested in making, but this guy does a really good job at it. So we do outsource that. But other than that, everything in our stores is our product. We do the Carolina Hemp Festival. We did it in 2000. Last time we did it was 2018. And we had about 1,000 people, about 40 vendors. We gave out the Golden Hemp Leaf Award to 2 people that we thought were kind of bringing the industry to North Carolina. We have a Doja infused lounge now that our grand opening is on Thanksgiving. So we're trying to bring the healthy nightlife, bringing it to entertainment. So we want to be the first to have like a healthy nightlife. So what it is infused hookah, no nicotine, no tobacco. We are making the hookah. So it's cannabis infused hookah, cannabis infused drinks, cannabis infused desserts and meals.
Wow.
And so that is our real, that's what we're into now. But we also have Hemp Tex, which is our textile division. We just signed a contract with the company out of Canada that we're going to start producing hempcrete here in North Carolina. So that's going to be located further east. We're going to be building a factory that's trying to do some hempcrete, so it'll tie into the construction side that we used to be in.
Right.
Bringing it full circle.
Which is your husband's natural side. I mean, being in construction,
right?
And just the thought of being able to produce this concrete that is no longer concrete, is hempcrete, and
right.
being able to have the benefits of it. I think it would. I mean, it's just. I mean, how just on the cusp of this industry that you guys are on, and being able to do this and do it under your own terms, under your own business. I mean, it must be exciting.
Right. It is very, very exciting. We also started a cannabis spa. They actually moved to our Charlotte location. We had it here in Wendell. We moved it to our Charlotte location. I feel like I'm missing. Trichome Genetics is our genetics company that we do our processing through. We picked the name Trichome because of the plant trichomes.
Sure.
What else, babe, am I missing? And we do research and development. We're into it all. And that's why I say I don't want anybody to be misled with this industry, because we literally have our hands in every aspect. Not saying that we know everything, but we've had our hands in quite a deal over these past three years.
Yeah. So let me circle back and explain to everybody how we connected via Instagram. Thank God for social media. And sometimes you don't know that you're looking at each other until you do the dance. And M for MM is getting ready to do a boot camp for women grow on the hemp industry and the hemp licensing and the opportunities and what have you. And Armaney reached out. And Armaney reached out and was like, "Listen, I just want to make sure that if the content that's put out there is going to be right where it needs to be, especially for Black and brown businesses."
Right.
Talk from that perspective of some of the junk that you've heard out there and some of the misleading things that you've heard, and how it's so critical for us to make sure that we are doing right by our Black farmers.
Wow. I would say start with the vertical integration, how we became vertical.
Yes.
I saw my dad grow tobacco for years and Philip Morris make the money. So me and my husband came up with this thing, like, we need to be vertical where we actually have control of the industry. We want farmers to have control of the industry because farmers are the most important part of any industry. And we want them to make sure they have control of it. If we would have learned how to roll cigarettes and sold them to the public,
yeah,
we would have been the billionaires today. But your question, I'm sorry, get back to your question.
No. I was saying, so we talked about, your connection with me. It was like, hey, I want to make sure that the information is being put out there. What are some of the misleading things in that you've seen that's been kind of pushed down to our farmers or what have you, that's really made you say, I got to not only be a businesswoman, but I got to be an advocate for people that are coming behind me?
I would think education.
Yeah.
Miseducation.
Right. And getting it from the wrong source.
Oh my goodness. We have literally had dozens and dozens of people coming down and we know that we don't tell them that we're into all these things, and the miseducation that has been spread around in the conferences we've been to.
Right.
We just hear people talk, and it's like, it's people that's not really doing it. They're putting their name on a bottle from some products that's coming from elsewhere, and they're not really in the industry. And
right.
How to advise somebody on this is how much money you're going to make off a crop, or this is what, if you've never done it, you're just going off projections. And another piece of advice I would give people that are getting into farming is, you just can't jump. You can, but it's hard to just jump into farming. People say, oh, I'm going to get my license. Okay, that's the easy part. Then you need to have an ends to your means. What are you going to do with it after you farm? Do you have a tractor at all?
How are you going to deliver on that? And that's what I was going to ask you about.
Like, I'm going to farm. I'm like, do you have land?
Yeah.
Is your land clear? Do you have a tractor? Do you have the manpower? This is just not like growing some tomatoes, which that's hard in itself, but this requires a lot of manpower and a lot of energy and a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
How do you and I know you guys said that your father obviously had been farming. It sounds like potentially at an industrial scale previously. So, he may have had equipment and so on. But, talk about when you guys kind of looked at what your resources were. How did you guys kind of fill those gaps? So say, for instance, he may have had tractors, but did he have the right attachments to the tractors to be able to harvest the hemp? Like, those things come down to a very, minute thing. So talk about, you've gone after your license. Like you said, that's the easy part. You filled out your application. Now it's time to actually start to prepare the field, the plan, how you're going to do it. So talk about some of the stuff that you guys, some of the hurdles you guys had to overcome in those early days.
The early days, they say that third year farming is your first year in this industry.
Yeah.
We hand sowed each seed. And if I can, I'll show you. We hand sowed each seed in 10 acres our first year.
Are you serious?
That's crazy.
And so no machine. So if you guys don't know, normally there's a machine that you put the seeds in and then you're able to shake them out and you got to space them out depending on how much you want to space out your plants or what have you. So
literally walked each one off 3 feet put it a 1/4 inch in the ground with a hockey stick. I mean, with like a ski pole.
Yeah.
And literally 10 acres. We walked each row and hand sowed each seed.
That's about what, 2,500 plants per acre?
Yes. Yeah, about 2,000 an acre. But yeah, we had help. But we, starting off, my dad had gotten rid of his tobacco planters and stuff because he had gotten into soybean and wheat. So we said, hey, we have the seeds. We're gonna figure out, and we had a lot of volunteers that helped us out. But the first year was rough because we didn't even, we didn't have enough manpower. We thought we had enough, but it takes even 10 times more than that.
Right.
And keeping the weeds out the field was a very big hurdle for us. It overtook probably about 5 or 6 acres of our field, just weeds itself.
Right.
These weeds, I mean, they were robust. Like we would chop them every day, and they seems like overnight they would just take over the field. So that was a lot of things we had to educate ourselves on: weed control,
nutrients and stuff for the plant, things
that
help.
Yeah.
What about harvest equipment? Did you guys have to buy any new harvest equipment?
We've hand harvested the past 2 years.
Y'all labor intensive on that.
We hand harvested, and I do have video of it being harvested, but we hand harvested for 2 years. We had the staff to help us do it, but it was very labor intensive. So not being able to have loans and things like that to purchase the equipment is another hurdle. Like you can walk into a bank and say, hey, I need a loan for some equipment for my cannabis field. You, let alone open a bank account. I mean, there's no.
And those are the types of decisions that on the ground floor, when you're dealing with limited resources, you got to make a decision to go out and buy a piece of equipment or pay a few people and, recruit some volunteers and, and get them all together. Really bootstrapping it, through those first couple of years, so you get to a point where, you can, start to move and invest in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this year we had a little bit of help with the harvesting, so we did a different method. But the first 2 years it was definitely hand harvested.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys lose any crop because of, I guess processing? Like, did you realize beforehand that you needed to dry it, and did you talk about some of the loss that comes in, through those?
So our first year, the losses were we had a hurricane, and it was half the field was overtaken by weeds. Like 2 more acres was destroyed with the hurricane. Then what we did, we did some clones, and then we did some seed because we wanted to see which one was the stronger plant, because we heard that seeds build a stronger plant because it's from the root. And then we heard, clones. So we had half the field clones and half the field seeds. Those seeded plants were stronger plants. So that was one thing that we learned. But what was the second thing? The second year, babe, what was it? What did we do wrong?
We had those cornworms.
Yeah, cornworms. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the cornworms, controlling those was a headache in itself. Just unforeseen, because they didn't know which herbicides, which pesticides they didn't know. Like, it was just kind of in the air. Here in North Carolina, we had to experiment with everything. We heard we tried dandelion and vinegar. We tried everything, but in North Carolina, they really couldn't give us any real education on it because every climate is different also.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. In North Carolina, do you have to, if you cultivate, are you allowed to process, or are those 2 different licenses?
They're 2 different licenses.
Okay. Yeah. So with your processing, what type of processing are you doing?
You do short path.
Okay. So that is what, from an extraction perspective?
Ethanol.
Okay, ethanol. Mm-hmm. Have you guys looked at, especially on the textile side and the fibers, and looking at, has anyone in North Carolina, besides Spring Hope, is there anyone looking at duplicating that type of model for, being able to have a cortication machinery breaks down to so that you can use it for fiber, or is that the plan going forward when you talk about the textile side of the business?
That is decortation, definitely. I'm not sure of any other people. We haven't heard of any. Hemp Inc. is probably the last person that I've really heard of that's planning that had a decortator, and I haven't. Yeah, they didn't. Did they have a decortator? It didn't work. I mean, the hemp.
Yeah, I thought it was. For last I had heard, it wasn't operational.
Oh, really?
You know, and for a number of reasons, farmers aren't farming as much specifically for
Yeah.
fiber. So the cost of running the factories, all of those things come into play as well.
Yeah. So yeah, but we definitely are getting to that hemp tech side, and really, well, that's our next big move with the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed out on there was a contract with Puerto Rico for the biodegradable bottles, the water bottles, and that was about a year ago, and that was a big contract that was missed out on because we didn't have the proper equipment. But we're definitely getting into that side. Yeah.
So that's a great segue. Can you talk to the people? You have people out here right now. They're like, okay, well, maybe I'm gonna have a farming family. Maybe we want to try this. We want to look at cultivation, what have you. But how do you source out? Like, to cultivate means that you want to find a buyer. And so, with you and your husband, is there someone that's sourcing out people that want to buy your crops as your crop is growing? Are you looking at some of the trends and seeing who's out there? Like, for example, that wants to use the plants for biofuel, or like you said, for textiles. How are you getting those leads to help you to make sure that you're just not growing in vain?
With us being with the vertical option for us, we're using every aspect of the plant. And I would just tell people, be careful, because we've had people say, oh, well, we're going to buy your crop. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we've saved like a certain amount to the side, but we've always had that vertical. So just in case that contract fell through, and which it did for a lot of farmers here in North Carolina, we still have farmers that have several pounds that they can't get rid of because they were promised these big contracts and none of them are coming through. So you have a lot of farmers just stuck with hemp, and nothing to do with it. So with that vertical, I would tell people, get vertical. That's instead of putting your trust in, and you can go out and search for other contracts, but make sure they're legit contracts. Make sure you're doing your research on these people. Don't just go with the first person that says, hey, I'm going to come buy your hemp and then plant you some hemp, and then they're nowhere to be found. Do your research. We've seen it too many times.
Armaney, why don't you get ready to share your screen? I know you had some pictures you want to share and walk us through. You can talk from your perspective as Armaney is getting us set up, just with your farming network and what you're doing about just the intensiveness of going from cultivating to actually having a product. Now, I don't know if you want to share more.
It's definitely not as easy as people think. Getting the license was literally a breeze, but getting from license to actually seeds in the ground is a huge challenge. I personally, in my farming network, we dealt with machines breaking down trying to clear land. We dealt with people trying to get power to a well pump, and because of COVID-19, the power company was backed up. There's so many things that have to go right just to be able to get seeds in the ground. We also, we had a couple acres get planted this year, and maybe 3 days after it got planted, we had like a week straight of rain, and so nothing was able to, even germinate in that type of conditions. So, it's so many things that can go wrong. I recommend to people, have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, because you're going to have to do some pivoting and some adjusting, and, so much can go wrong, and it's a learning process, and you're going to have to, go through some growing pains, even if you're not, on the cultivation side, and say you're on maybe the product manufacturing side or something like that, getting freight can be a nightmare. I'm currently going through a situation right now where freight was lost and damaged and stuff like that. So there's so many different things that you can experience, and when you're dealing with limited resources and limited funding, it could have a huge impact. So trying to start small, in a focused area. You don't have to be a company that's trying to service the entire US. right out the gate. Try to, lock down that local area first, and then from there grow. So.
Yep, I love it. I love it.
Can you see my screen?
No, we can't see it just yet.
You can't. Okay.
Hit the yeah. So here.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Let me add to the stream.
Okay.
There we go. Yep.
There we go. Yep.
So yeah.
So what you have to do is close down some of your other ones in the back behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Y'all literally hand seeded this field. That is beautiful, and I think that's probably one of the special things about your guys' company. Even just going through that, but that is such a labor-intensive thing, and
it is. It is. This is the help that we had, and we had, every day we would have more and more volunteers, but these are mostly store owners too.
Are you guys located in like a farming community, or how close are you guys, or how far are you from like the population centers or so on?
We are in a farming community. I would say Wendell and Zebulon is definitely a farming community. Yeah, so people that help on the farm are from my dad used to farm tobacco. We got a lot of them to help out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are definitely a farming community, but people wanted to just get their hands on cannabis, honestly. So a lot of our volunteers, yeah.
And to have the freedom, how about to have the freedom and not have to worry about getting arrested or whatever, to be able to be able to work with the plant, which is pretty awesome by itself.
Right.
All right. So walk us through some of the pictures. Let's go.
This is our crop from last year. This is from when they were out halfway through the season.
Okay.
I'm just these aren't in any order.
Yeah.
I have a folder with so that's from last year. This is some of the harvest from last year. So that's us harvesting some from last year.
How long does it take you guys to harvest when you're doing it by hand like that?
It depends. Like last year it was 30 acres, so it took us a bit longer. I'd say about 2 weeks.
Not too bad.
2 weeks and approximately how many staff?
Ooh. We had about how many staff members, baby? Yeah, we had the workers at H2.
Okay.
So I would say about 50.
Okay, agricultural workers and so on.
Yeah.
And that
was not, our first year we did not have those. So
gotcha.
This is Bruce. This is at the
I'm bringing that up there, for our listeners who are just trying to understand the dynamics that go into it. Machinery is expensive, and so is labor at times. And figuring that out. For 30 acres, they had about 50 staff, and it took them a couple weeks. Those things have to be cared for and factored into your plan. As you're setting up and trying to, determine when you're going to harvest and what type of staff you need and the cost that goes into that. So, for all of you guys who are listening out there, machinery is certainly one way of doing it. Labor is another way of doing it. But at any rate, you have to care for that component. That is a huge part of your cost.
All right, so go back a little bit. So that's you in front of it looks like one of your trucks is bailing, and then you had the white bags. The white bags, talk a little bit about that bagging situation.
Let me see. Let me try to find that picture again. So this is when the bud is being separated from the actual stalk. I'm trying to find it. I can find that picture again.
Well, you know what, and as you're looking for that picture, I really want to start transitioning and talking about, we're talking about farming, and some people that are here, they're listening to us live on YouTube, and then we're live on Facebook Live and also on LinkedIn. They're like, okay, we're not going to have a vertical model. We're probably not going to farm. But what we're really interested in is understanding on the retail side. We really want to know and understand what does that look like. even from my own product development of how to develop my own products. Can you like share a little bit about what that vision looked like for you and as it's come to fruition for you as well?
So our basis was the teachers, of course. Um, we did our product development based off of what the customers pretty much started off in farmers markets. We started off selling at farmers markets before we had the stores. And then people just started requesting different products. So we would know to, okay, we need to do this product. We need to expound on this, on the spa side or whatever side, internal side. So we started with the tinctures. The tinctures is your basis of the products. And that's what we wanted to mainly give our first education on was the tinctures, because that was the most popular thing then. It's not the quickest way or the best way to get into your body, but it was the most popular thing then that people were asking about. As far as product development, I would just say if you're starting off, think of a product that you've experimented with before. If you're into skincare, if you're into, I don't know, if you're into makeup, whatever you're into, expound on what you're into. If you're cooking, if you're a chef, like if you make a nice barbecue sauce, figure out a way to infuse that. There are a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. Everybody does it their own way, but go with the product that you see a need for with the public. Like if you see there's around you, say that you have a lot of kids with ADHD, ADD, or, if your community is an older community, then expound on those products that will benefit your community or the products that, that you have experimented with before.
We got a question on Facebook. We got Andrea Knight wants to infuse her hair care products with hemp.
Okay.
So she wants to know, where can she purchase those? Do you guys have a website where someone like her, who obviously, in many cases with a lot of our members with M4MM, they want to start out small. They want to do a little bit of product testing and so on. So they're not ready to go out, and buy pounds on pounds on pounds. They just need a little bit of something to work with to see what they can do. So what would you recommend on starting with those, or getting samples, or connecting with a company like yourself?
So we are working possibly on a wholesale market with the Hemp Source stores and our franchises. We do keep our products very boutique-ish. We keep them to our stores only, but we are working on developing we do sell the oil online where you can just buy it, but like the wholesale sector where we actually let you use our oil, we try to keep that to our franchisees, because we want this product to be A1. We don't want it to become where you just see it everywhere. You see it in the gas station, you see it places like that. So she can purchase the oil online, and feel free to reach out to me, and I can help you with on trying to show you how to do the infusion. But we could work something out where I could try to see what would be best for her application. But we don't just sell our oil to, like a wholesale market yet, because we want to keep that exclusivity with us right now.
You're on mute, Roz. We can't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's a great point. And just a really good segue. You created, again, looking at the vertical model, you cultivate, you're able to process using the ethanol method or what have you to process to be able to extract your oil.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating these strains that are very centric and very boutique-ish to your brand. Mm-hmm. Tell us how you started the retail and how many retail spots you have right now. How did you get people interested in owning their own retail spot under your brand, and what that looks like?
So we started the retail aspect, like I said, in 2018. And people, we started in Little Wendell, on the corner in Wendell. When we started, it was like, it's a marijuana store coming in Wendell. Facebook was blowing up. It was like, oh no, and they're black. Oh, what's gonna happen? The town is just going to hell pretty much. But after people got over once we pressed the education, in all of our stores, we call them like education centers, because once they got the education, from there, once it spread it through the churches and everything, it was word of mouth is what really blew us up. Because you can't do Instagram marketing. Instagram ads, Facebook ads, nothing like that. We couldn't do billboards. We couldn't do radio, no TV. So I mean, we were just like, okay, this is just going to have to be a word of mouth thing. And people became interested in our products through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And also our franchisees, most of our franchisees are minorities. And they became interested through word of mouth. And they were just willing to work with us. We pick our franchisees based on how well they can educate the public. But that's a big thing that we press. We started off with the one store. Our second store was in Charlotte. And I guess you can bring up the locations, but our second store we opened was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then we opened another store in Maryland. We've opened 13 locations. We lost 3 for family reasons and one with the virus. So yeah, that's a list of all of our locations.
That's awesome. So
most of them are in North Carolina. We have 3 in Alabama.
Okay.
So Alabama was word of mouth also. We had some family members that were up here that lived in Alabama. They spread the word down there. We got phone calls up here, so we kind of made our way into Alabama. And okay, that's you controlling the screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's me controlling. Just tell me where you want to go. So when we talk about so people can buy online, but you have these stores where they can have an experience, they can get the education. So you've created a franchise model. And with that franchise model, you've had individuals, and specifically there's been a lot of them that are individuals of color who've utilized all of your resources and expertise to start their own store. Can you kind of give us a roundabout of what that looks like from an initial investment, or things that people should think about if they want to do this, go this way?
Mm-hmm. So our stores, when people come to us and say they want a franchise, of course we send them out a FDD. Our franchises are $35,000. They do come with your startup inventory, and it comes with all your startup inventory. We provide your education, your signage. We have a breakdown on what products you will get with your startup. And our main thing, our biggest thing that we provide is the education. Like we break every product down to our franchisees. But yeah, that's the first thing we do when we start. We tell people to pick a location. We like locations that are in small towns.
Okay.
We decided not to. Charlotte has been doing well, but most of our stores are in smaller towns because of the fact that people with the word of mouth in bigger towns, it seems like it's harder to spread than in smaller towns.
Sure.
So yeah, most of our locations are in the smaller towns or tight knit communities, as in Wilson, Henderson. Those are more of the smaller towns. But Winston-Salem has been doing very well. That's a little bit larger. But yeah, we stick with the word of mouth concept.
Awesome. And then in the stores and the shops they're getting, these are centric to the Hemp Source. So you're only carrying Hemp Source products. You are providing education under the Hemp Source, so they're not able to have other. The goal is to be able to do full service from the Hemp Source, correct?
Yeah, we are looking into a facial line to outsource, facial masks, things like that, because we did grow quicker than what we expected. So we are going to be looking into outsourcing some facial, like face mask, facial things like that, things that we really don't, we don't have the time to research, like we would want to, like we did all of our other products. But that is an area that we are looking to outsource, and a few other like unique products like the hot sauce, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. If it's a unique product and hemp hearts, okay, is that your product?
That is E's product.
It is, okay. Yeah. So little niche, unique products that we can't take the time and energy to develop. Then if we know that somebody else, and we know the farmer, so we want to make sure if we do outsource a product, we know who the farmer is.
Absolutely.
We don't want anyone that has put a name on, some other person's product. We want to know who the farmer was, and we want traceability. With our people, that's a big thing for us, is traceability.
Well, and I think also it's creating commerce amongst each other, and it's creating there's ways to create cooperatives within that is a vertically integrated cooperative where you guys, this is your business and you did it. And for those that are listening, you could do it that way, or you could create a cooperative where you have people that are all invested into this entity to grow it together from a vertical perspective. But the fact that you're willing to say, hey, listen, if there is a niche product and it's another black or brown farmer, and I know where it's sourced at, we would love to look at that opportunity. And I know E-Rain, you want to jump in, E?
Yeah, I actually was gonna save that to the end and just let people know that the website is launching this weekend and they could grab it. But it was perfect timing. You said niche product and so on. But no, I think that's important, and I think honestly, I think that's the way that we as minorities win in this space, is to find those niche products that we know we have a market for, products we use ourselves. I mean, I use hemp hearts on almost everything. My kids ask for hemp hearts on their food, so it's something that we were already, very versed on, and it just made sense for us. And so I think, as other minorities look at how they get in, Armaney's company is vertically, and they're growing for themselves. But there's certainly other companies out there, and black and brown farmers in particular, who are growing to be able to sell to you guys so that you can make your products and so on. And those things are important. And potentially, down the road, you guys can create partnerships with, companies like Armaney's and others. But I really, really like your franchise model. I think, for minorities who are trying to create a business, so you ain't always got to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes, you want that wheel that's already invented, and
some kind of circular.
and it supports, and it's something that Roz and I have said time and time again. We have to wrap our arms around a few of these black brands that are out there and make sure that those brands are staples in this industry. And I think through this franchise model, that's a way of doing it. You are, for those of you who are listening, if you're going to go create your own CBD company, well, starting that from scratch is tough. It's labor intensive. Whereas you can get a cookie cutter model for $35,000, and I'm sure there's other investments that go into that as well. But you get it packaged for you, and you get this brand that's already created for you. And that's how we get our brands to be sustainable down the road. So, I love what you guys are doing.
And I love the small country, small town type of. So if you live in a small town, or your family or whatever, and that's really where your repeat business is, where your retail is going to grow, right? Go ahead.
Well, and then another thing I want to say is, in our franchise, any of our franchisees that want to make a product, they make products too for our stores. So like our in Charlotte, our person that makes our franchisee that makes the soap and the candles, they make the soap and candles for our stores, but it's with our oils and with our products.
Yes.
We have several franchisees that have a product that they know they want to make, but just don't know how to do it. And we do all of that here, but we keep that tight knit family, that's family model here with our franchise. And also, when we first started, if there were more black and brown companies that we knew where their product was coming from, we may have gone a different direction, but we just didn't. We tried that several times, like people saying, I have a product, I'm making it. But when we do the research, they're not really making it.
Yeah.
So, and then people say that they're farming, and we're like, where's your farm? We see a lot of things on the internet, like people that have farms and they're getting this recognition for these farms, and we're like, but we've never seen a farm. Where can we go to the farm? But people are being fed a lot of misinformation with this farming, and like I said, we're here. If anybody ever wants to reach out to us, we've had several meetings here at the store. We're here to offer any kind of guidance that we can offer.
Well, we had a question from Jaguar Senior. Hey, Jaguar. She wanted to know what about e-commerce? And I think e-commerce is such a retail is great, but e-commerce is such an important part of your business and figuring out that whole business model and being able to extend your sale to outside of just retail. Talk about how that you set that up and what makes that special for you, or how that works for you.
So e-commerce starting off for us was kind of shaky because we were cash only, and there were none of the companies did credit cards. So we were bouncing around from being shut down to being open to being shut down. So we had ATMs in every store, starting off. But now Square is where they are accepting CBD companies, so that really worked out for us. Before they were like at cannabis companies were at a 14% rate. Square is down to the 3.5% rate. So that was really good for us. So then we were able to integrate it onto our website. We just redid our website to prepare for a big e-commerce push. We have more of our sales are in store. We are going to be doing a more of an e-commerce push. We do get a few online sales, but we just revamped that website and released it yesterday to prepare us for that push for our e-commerce. But now e-commerce is going to be much easier for people because they don't have to worry about those hurdles as far as cash only and figure out a way around accepting credit cards and things like that.
Yes. I'm on the site right now, so everybody's looking. We're on the Hemp Source USA, and basically you see again, here's some of the assortment of different edibles. We're on their edible page, and you can look at they're doing this with the knowledge of knowing that they're creating infused products that have less than 3% or less than 0.3% THC. So these are CBD infused type of products that they're creating that are a different delivery system. I know some people that tolerate edibles versus tincture, or they don't like to smoke, or some people like they're trying to get off of smoking and they want to utilize a pre-roll in order to transition off of nicotine and have something that is, maybe smoking is not the healthiest way to consume, but when you're someone that has been an avid smoker for 20, 25 years, sometimes that is a great option to transition off of. So here's just a little bit, again, I think the point is with e-commerce, the more that the industry starts to become normalized, the more that the options for you to be able to do business with other folks with people is going to be easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
And here's some pre-rolls.
Yep.
And then here,
all of our flowers weighed out just like a dispensary. It's weighed out in front of you. We keep that very clean dispensary model. As far as our pre-rolls and the flower, everything comes with test results and QR codes. So we so those are our bath bombs. That was Satan's Breath out of Charlotte. That is one company. Actually, I spoke at one of your events, a minority for medical marijuana in Charlotte.
Yep. Shout out to Sean and Kaya.
Yeah, and so Satan's Breath, he started, I think, from that event because he was asking questions and he was like, so what should I do? He said, I make a good hot sauce. I said, well, you infuse it. So, and about 6 months later, a year later, I get this phone call. He's like, hey, I heard you speak at M for MM event, and I made this hot sauce. I want to know if you put it in your store. I was like, sure, yes, that's amazing. I can't believe you did that. That was amazing. Yeah, great product.
Amazing. So what's the future looking like?
Look at M for MM just connected.
Hey, we just all over the place. God dang it. God bless America. So what's the future, Armaney? Like, one, you have the support of your spouse and you guys working together. It's just, black love. I can imagine that you are his strength and he's your strength. So what's the future for the Hemp Source USA? You got the retail operations. What things you want to focus on as you go into the next year or two, especially with COVID? I don't know if COVID's really affected your business or not.
So with COVID, with this whole year, with 2020, period. We are gonna start this franchise giveaway. We haven't released it yet. I think we're gonna release it in January of 2021 to a minority. That we're gonna do a whole essay write-up training thing where we want to give a franchise to someone that's in an underserved or undeveloped community that just has an interest, that may not have the funds or the means to get into the industry, but just have that interest and that drive that we had when we first started off and didn't have the funds to propel ourselves. So we are going to be announcing that in January 2021. So people will write in with why they want to be in the hemp industry or the cannabis industry, period. And we're going to be doing that franchise giveaway. It has to be in an underserved, undeveloped community to a minority. That's one of our big things for 2021. Of course, the hemp text thing is our other thing that we're going to be working on. The hempcrete. Me with my general contracting license, we're licensed in about 6 states. So this company that we're working with, they've done some homes in Philadelphia. So that's another big project that we have coming up for our company.
I love it. And you can, if you guys are out there and you want to get into the industry, you can just do industrial, look at growing hemp for industrial use, like biofuel, hemp. All you gotta do, that's where the money is, right? All you gotta do is, if you guys are looking at, first and foremost, look up what are the different uses of hemp, and you want to look up from a medical perspective and health and beauty, but look up industrial uses of hemp. If you look that up, you'll see all this different ways that you can use it. If you narrow in on something that you really, really like, just follow the dots, follow the trail, and you will, I mean, literally, I mean, it's like my girl in Michigan, Simone Kaysen says, it's Googling God. If you got Googling God, you got everything. You're good to go, man.
Right. Yeah.
And we have some people. So we got Farrah Fryer. Hey, girl, we always see you here. Let me just pop out some of her questions, and so I think we okay, hold on one second. So Jaguar had a question. Do you wholesale or white label? That question was no. So just tell them again, Armaney, how you guys work with your
wholesale or white labeling. We don't do that as of now. If it is something that we're looking to get into in 2021, just because, like I said, we want to keep that. You don't see Louis Vuitton feel. We want to be like the boutique, the exclusive Hemp Source brand in our stores. We are looking into a wholesale and white labeling. We're just trying to figure out how that works, and how, you know, the promise that we make to our franchisees, how we can make that work with them also, because they bought into a franchise that, you know, we first started off that we wouldn't sell it to anybody else. But we are going to be having meetings regarding that and how our wholesale or white labeling will work, but it will be announced on our website and on our Instagram also. I can't hear you.
Then we got someone that says, where do I sign up? Sampson County is underserved. That's Farrah Fryer.
In January 2021, we're going to be releasing it. So follow at the Hemp Source USA on Instagram, and all the updates will be there and on our website. We're just trying to figure out how we're going to go about this process. We do have a few lawyers and radio stations that want to get involved. So it's going to be a big thing for the minority community. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, we are so we are just ecstatic to make the connection. The fact that you've already been to the M4MM event in North Carolina, shout out to Sean and Kaya. You've already been introduced to us, and we're just happy to have this sit down and to just know and get to learn more about you, your brand. I love the analogy. When you go to a Louis Vuitton, you don't see nothing but Louis Vuitton in that store. And they ride out on the fact that they got a great product, a great brand, and that you're going to want to come buy it. And so you guys, if you didn't learn anything from this today, man, that was my aha. Like, listen, you won't see Louis Vuitton have nothing besides Louis Vuitton. So get with it. So, but if you want to look at how being a franchisee with the Hemp Source USA, there's their website. It's right there scrolling across your screen. Let them know that you heard about them on Canada Talk with Roz. You want more information, go to the website, get informed, and man, I wish you and the company much success. We're gonna stay connected for sure. And I'm excited for you.
Definitely, I look forward to the Carolina Hemp Festival. We're gonna try to do it again next year. God, willing, with everything. But yeah, look forward to that, and some more education there also.
Awesome. Okay, E-Range, I'm going to let you just take it away, man. This was such a great show.
I can tell you something, man. She had a mic drop moment that I hope people were listening. Did she say she was giving away a franchise? Like,
Share this. Go share this. Go share this, Rod.
Hello, somebody.
Right. Please listen. But listen, also but black folks, brown folks, white folks, I don't care who listening. Also, there's a value for what she's offering as a franchise. If she's telling you it's $35,000, you don't have to go through the headache and you don't have to start from ground zero. You really have a model, a system of business that you can follow and be successful. And that's what is so beautiful. So for everybody that's out there, if you're looking for a franchise hemp model, go see the Hemp Source USA and get down with them. And good Lord, man.
And she's making it attainable for people and
Yeah.
removing some of those barriers. Yeah.
Right. Also, check out Doja Infused Lounge. Our grand opening is going to be Thanksgiving, the weekend after Thanksgiving, that Saturday. I think that's the 28th. But you can enjoy a healthy nightlife. You know, that's very important. The nicotine that you consume with smoking regular social hookah is beyond 10 packs of cigarettes. So let's get into that healthy nightlife also.
What's the website for that, darling?
It's Doja, DOJA, Infused Lounge.com.
All right, guys, listen. They said, when they say they vertical, they mean they vertical. Don't play with it. Don't play
They
with
doing the damn thing. I ain't mad at them.
Hey, East.
Absolutely. Hey, listen. So, I'm looking up to y'all. I love what y'all are doing. I think some of the things you guys are doing are certainly in line with what I was looking to do. And I wanted to make the quick announcement to people. My consumer brand, Hemp and Fork, is now live. We got our Instagram and Facebook going. The website has a landing page up right now, but on Sunday, we will be launching the full site. There will be plenty of recipes on how to use hemp hearts into your diet. We got some blogs. So if you have kids and you want to know how to get your kids to eat hemp hearts, go check it out. Hempandfork.com is the website. Our hemp hearts are available right now for individuals. If you want to buy it, you can buy it on the website. But also retailers. If you have storefronts and so on, we're looking to partner with you guys to get you guys these on your shelves. So check it out. Support Black-owned brands, and we're going to keep pushing it.
You got to send us some of the hemp hearts. Yeah, we definitely would love to.
Listen, we will connect offline. I'll put them in the mail to you today.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, we literally just cracked some inventory earlier this week, so we're actually filling. When I get off here now, I got a few orders I got to fill, run to the post office. So absolutely. But to everybody who's been watching, again, I know there was some dimes dropped in here. I hope you guys are picking them up. There was a lot of great stuff here. Just another brand that we as a community have to wrap our arms around. So thank you to Armaney and to your husband and to your whole team for what you're doing for Blazing Trails. As always, everybody, this weekend, love on yourself, love on your family, get some rest because we got work to do on Monday. We'll see y'all again next week with another episode of Can I Talk with Roz.
All right, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Armaney. You've been awesome, my love. We appreciate you. See you everybody later. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye. Same to you.
All right, bye-bye.